is yet another bright and sunny Saturday morning or evening, I mean, depending on where you find yourself. And welcome to another episode of Dear Man. Um, as always, pleased to come your way to interact about life, relationships, marriage, and all. Um, as usual, we'll give you a moment to go out there, share the feed, and then we'll get started. So, inform family and friends that we are live. We can take it from there. Um, as you may have noticed, Prissy is not here yet with me. Probably she'll join in the middle of the conversation, but let's do this. Give me 1 second to figure out mine and then let's get going. Okay. So, going back to the topic Sami has shared with us, looks like it has to do with earnings, what couples and the impact on relationships. So let's take a look at that. So the question is earning more than your spouse a marriage deal breaker? So this is one very important topic. I mean, when it comes to relationships, it comes to marriage and all, finances really play a very crucial role. So it's only fair that we take a look at this very topic. As usual, when you join us, shoot a hello, shoot a hi, and push your questions across on the comments, and then um, we'll deal with them. Okay, so um, it might be a one-way affair since I am here alone today, but let's do justice to it. Finances are, like I said, really, really crucial. And not only are they crucial, but unfortunately, it depends on who is also um, the main, let's call it breadwinner in the family. Usually, you would expect that, as per our traditional settings, the man would be the breadwinner, right, or would be the main bankroller of the family. Um, Unfortunately, because life is life, it doesn't always happen like that. So you would sometimes have a situation where the woman is a bankroller and might need to be the person or the main person dishing out a lot of the financial resources. So, depending on the dynamics, it weighs the marriage in one way or the other. So, let's take a look at it. Under normal circumstances, in an ideal situation, and this is where or where I really stand on this topic. It shouldn't be a problem who is earning more. In fact, it should be, if you go back again, like I will always say, I'm sure by now you'll be bored with me going this route, but that is what I believe, and I can't help it. If we go to the very foundations of the marriage or marital institution, if the two shall become one, the two will be happier if they are bringing in more money, right? So if two people are together and they have the same focus, they have the same goals, then when more money is coming into the system or into the family or the household, then it should be exciting for both of them. And so that is where I stand on this situation. So it it shouldn't really matter who is earning more. But then again, that is more of in, unfortunately, isolated cases where the man and the woman are all like in sync, and everyone is happy for each other when they bring in more money, because they know that it inures to the benefit of the whole family, or the family as a unit. Unfortunately, in most cases, the dynamics play out differently, right? So, um, in most situations, people don't really start out with a culture of respect. Okay. Hey, hello, Mr. Jetomobi. Thanks for joining us. So because people don't start out with a culture of respect, like mutual respect for each other, the for example, and let me paint this typical picture. Say a lady or a wife only values the husband because of the financial input the husband makes, right? If that is the situation, then we'll end up where, if the lady now starts earning more, then if I respect you for the money you are bringing on the table, and now I feel I am self-sufficient and I have more money than I thought I could ever have, then why do I even still accord you that respect, when that respect is only premised on the money you are bringing? You get how it works. So in most situations, in fact, I have heard of stories where husbands or men go all out to make sure that their spouses are not earning as much as them, or they are not earning money at all, so that they are dependent on them, right? So again, if you take the foundation and it is not like built right, then you would have a situation where people are um according respect or whatever value to their spouses based on what they are bringing. But again, that is like scripture will say, in the beginning, it was not so. Or when we go to the law of first mention, it was not supposed to be so. It was supposed to be two people coming together to build a better life together, right? So eh, I don't see how, and so that's why I would always love to go back to the foundations. I don't see how you would say someone is bone of your bone and, and flesh of your flesh, and you are not happy because that person is going to earn more money or is earning more money, and would, as it were, look down upon you. So, on the flip side, what I would say is that when you are starting out in a relationship or marriage or whatever, um, you your value system shouldn't really be based on material stuff. Otherwise, you would end up in such a situation. It should always be like there shouldn't be a situation where the moment one of the and for just to be on the same page with everyone, the moment one of the partners starts earning more, then they change, like their lives change. I mean, if people can be assured that if their spouses start earning more money, they would not change the way they behave, I'm sure people would be okay with their spouses earning more money, right? Because sometimes I try to get the logic, right? But again, dynamics play out differently. So you cannot not understand all the nuances of what someone believes and expects, blah, blah, blah. So if um you are in a relationship with someone like your wife or your partner or something, I think the right thing is to even push them further to earn more. Because think about it, like when it comes to myself and Prissy, it's like common coffers, right? So if Prissy is any more, it means we can do more. If Prissy is any less, it means our spending power reduces. So why would I on earth wish that she would earn less, right? So I believe that that is how a well functioning relationship should be, right? Like if you go like, oh, if my wife earns more, she will not respect me, then I think the foundational value system is flawed, right? So um let me know what you think about this. I mean, in the comments. Again, there are different situations that play out, and so sometimes you never understand why um, people like wish their spouses would not earn more, right? So that is what I think. Now, if someone is in a situation where it looks like or it feels like the spouse becomes pompous or disrespectful when when they start to earn more, I think it's a good place to make that call and have that discussed, because again, I would not see why you would be in the same boat with someone and you would wish they would not do well. It plays out a bit as witchcraft, like you trying to. But then again, I mean, even if we take something like football, right? There are situations where you would have a teammate and people, whether you believe it or not, other teammates will not be so happy when they like they score a goal or they are playing well or something, because I mean individual human beings are complex, right? We come with our own complexities, egos and stuff, and so people will go like, oh, I'd rather it's me, or and so on and so forth, right? But again, going back to the foundations, uh, God did not create it to be so, right? So if there is any reason why that is happening, then it needs to be called out. It needs to be discussed. But there are some of the things you can't also solve, I mean, with a simple discussion, right? Um, there are people who are um, proud by nature, naughty by nature, and so sometimes the way God will humble them is to make sure they don't become overly what um, overly successful. I don't know if that is a thing, right? Because there are people who naturally cannot handle a certain level of success or a certain level of wealth, right? So if sometimes, I mean, again, the dynamics play out so differently, and so I will not be able to speak to the nuances of every single situation, but I dare say that sometimes the the way the blessings of God will play out in a relationship is maybe make one of the spouses who is not able to handle himself or herself well with a little more money, will make them always try to or will make them not get to a certain level of maybe earnings or income or what have you. And it's not only pertaining to like someone working a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 or whatever it is, right? But it could be in business, blah blah blah. So maybe sometimes the way God will have it work is make sure that proud partner doesn't earn more than he or she can handle, so that there is more peace in the marriage. sometimes, I mean, as humans, that's how we would see it. But again, given the opportunity, I don't see why anyone should wish that the spouse will earn less than him or her, so that like there are no issues. I mean, if there are issues with that, then it means it's actually a big problem, right? Like it's a foundational thing. It's not like um it's there is something with the value system, right? So like for example, I don't know why Prissy will say that, oh, I only value me as in when I have money or when I'm earning a certain amount, and the value will change if it, I don't earn a certain amount, right? It's money is important. Money is really crucial in running relationships, in running marriages, blah blah blah. But again, that shouldn't be where the value system is pivoted, right? I mean, like I always say, for myself and Brissy, we were going out when we were still students, right? So then I it's difficult for me to wrap my mind around a situation where I say the love or the foundation of that relationship was based on money, right? So again, people are different, relationships are different. So you would have a relationship where you would only be respected when you give money, and see, sometimes it even extends beyond the two people into families, right? Where it's like, okay, if you have an in-law that gives you a lot of money, you value them. It's absolute trash, in my opinion. I have my own opinions and all. um Again, it's sometimes cultural, right? And sometimes it goes beyond even culture, and it's more like it's human, that people would be drawn towards people who like give them gifts, shower gifts upon them. But again, if the value you place on someone is based on what you get, like the money you get from the person or the dish out you get from the person, go value a bank or something. Go value a mint where they mint money. It's again, those are some not so conventional um, convictions of mine. I mean, it shouldn't. Life goes beyond earnings. Life goes beyond money, right? There are people always think about it. There are people who um, were born into wealth. They make billions of dollars. That's even to the extreme. Millions of dollars, maybe it's even to the extreme, but hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or a year or whatever. But they have failed relationships, right? They have failed marriages. There are some who have married like three, four, five times. And so if your value, you think that the earnings, blah blah blah, the earning capacity, whatever the person brings to the table is the reason why you value or not value them, then I think your value system is flawed, really. Again, I know people will come, oh, it's yes, as a man, you need to work, make money, blah 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 blah. But again, yeah, it goes beyond that. So that's really what I think. And I would advocate that if you have a spouse, your goal as a loving and sensible spouse is that you would you would really push your spouse to be the best that they could be, right? So if today your spouse makes X amounts in a month, if you can encourage your spouse to make more, why not? And I'm talking about both sides. So If the man can encourage the lady to make more, why not? If the lady can encourage the man to make more, why not? It's again, if the foundation is right and you are doing things as it was intended, then there should be no way you would wish your spouse is earning less than you. Like, unless there is a situation where the spouse, like for example, makes money and the money is used on very silly things, and so you care less how much the person even earns. In fact, you would wish that the person earns less so that the person can cut out all those frivolous things. So again, there could be different dynamics playing out there, right? So say your spouse earns money and spends the money on um, people you think he or she shouldn't be spending the money on ladies or on drinks, on all this stuff, then I would say that it makes a bit of sense if you are naturally drawn to the person not making the money, so that the person's life will become regular or normal or sane, right? So that ties into what I mentioned earlier, that then we can say that sometimes the way the blessings of God plays out is that some people who cannot handle money will not come across it, so that their lives will not be destroyed. Because really, if you are not able to handle money, it can destroy your life, right? I mean, people have come into a little money. It's sometimes it's a little. And that's how the relativity thing works. Someone might see maybe $10,000 as chicken feed, and the moment another person comes across $10,000, that is the death sentence on the person, right? And the person will become a brewery or whatever, will mess himself up, and that's the beginning of the person's journey towards distraction, right? So again, um let's hope and pray and keep believing God to make us successful, right? And but in doing that as well, let's also ensure that we are not ending up like messing up the success, so much so that the people around us who should be praying for us, the people around us who should be hoping that we'll make it in life, will turn around and be hoping that would be down in life because we are not really handling it well, right? And I would also say that um, when it comes to earnings, yes, sometimes you would have a situation where the um, spouse, like one partner, doesn't know what the other partner is earning, right? Again, sometimes it also brings its own complications. Now, someone will say that, oh, if my spouse doesn't know how much I'm earning, then there wouldn't be any unnecessary demands on me. Let me flip it. I think that if you're, okay, again, nuances, again, different dynamics. Not every partner is sensible. So, for some partners, if they know you are earning X, Y, Z, till that money is finished, their demands don't stop. A sensible partner, it's best for a sensible partner to know how much you earn, because then they know how to like structure needs, demands, wants, blah, 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 right? So again, I would say that in the beginning, it was not meant to be so. It was meant to be two people leaving all that they know and cleaving, trying to make it in life together. So, however you would put it, it is two people who have ceased to be two and come together to be one. I don't know how. you will tell me. And if you can always filter stuff through this lens, I think you should correct or course correct, and then be sane. So if you will tell me that you can be a person who will not necessarily know how much you earn, then I would agree that when you are with a spouse, then it's fine not to know what the spouse earns. You get what I mean? Because you can't say that the two of you have become one, and a part of the one doesn't know what the other part earns. It doesn't make sense. Like logically, it doesn't make sense. So uh, I am not saying that every marriage will work out this way. What I am saying is based on what scripture admonishes when it comes to marriages, because that's where we take our guidance from, right? So if we can base off all our actions on what scripture says, then you would see that it's not even logical to have a situation where one person will say, "Oh, my spouse is the bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh," but I don't know how much my spouse earns. I don't know how it plays out, right? So, and again, let me sound a word of caution out there. So I'm trying to touch on all the different dynamics, because the reality is that, as we keep saying, no two relationships are the same, right? So I wouldn't sit here and naively assume that people always get it, or people always try to align with scripture, or people always try to be married the right way, right? So um if you think that you have a spouse, for example, and maybe the spouse knowing how much you earn would mean that it will become the talk of town, blah blah blah, then someone might say that, okay, I have a reason not to um, communicate how much I earn to my spouse, and it is a valid reason. Again, humans are different, and so people are married to different people. I nearly said all sorts of people, but everyone is different, right? So you would always have a certain dynamic playing out in your marriage. But all I'm saying is that there is a path that I believe that God would expect us to walk in, right? So in all your doings, try to align to that principle or that biblical path, and I am sure that we should be good. So, in summary, every sane relationship should be happy if one partner is doing well, or is doing better, or things are working for the person. There shouldn't be a reason why I would want to pull someone down, but there could be reasons that, and some of which I mentioned. Sometimes you just feel the person will be rather destroyed if, but sometimes we are also not God, right? So, I mean, always we are not God, so you wouldn't know how it plays out. But sometimes realistically you see that the person is destroying himself just because it looks like he's making more money, and so you say, oh, it looks like that what was supposed to be a blessing is now becoming a problem, right? So in an ideal situation, in every God-guided relationship, you should have a situation where people are rather happy when you are doing well. So that should be the goal. That should be the goal. Like, you should be happy for your spouse. You should be um proud of your spouse if your spouse is making more, because it makes life, however you look at it, it makes life easier for you, everyone around you, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that is my 2 cents on this matter. And I mean, if you think otherwise, you are always welcome to share it across with us. And so thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Dear Van. I can see Prissy sitting right across me. She cannot join because she'll break the whole conversation, and we have to tilt the angle of the phone and everything. So Prissy will join us next week on our next episode. So as always, remember that no two relationships are the same. Thanks, cheers, and bye for now. Looks like Sammy is on leave or something. Thanks for joining us, Theo. Theo says great information. Hopefully, it helps us out. Seems Sammy is